The two most important facets of being a strong striker in Blue Lock are undoubtedly talent and ego. With innate talent, you'll have little problem picking things up on the fly and being able to evolve your skills quickly, especially at a world-class level. Nagi Seishiro is a character in Blue Lock who is widely known as having some of the best, if not the best, innate talent in the Blue Lock facility. And although his innate talent can't be denied, when we talk about how strong his ego is, things start to get a little shaky. So in this video, I'd like to go over Nagi's abilities and how far exactly his innate talent takes him, and as well as going deep into how his ego plays a part in his talents. And at the end of the video, I'll be going over his current problem that he's having with his ego and how exactly he could fix this problem. But before we begin the video, I'd like to say that if you enjoy Blue Lock content, make sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel, as I do make Blue Lock content and I will be uploading more as of the new year. From the very beginning of Blue Lock, we are led to believe that ego is the main problem that Japan is having with their soccer teams, with the idea that you're not supposed to focus on individual talents, but rather you're supposed to help each other out and evolve the entire team. In my opinion, this led to the death of many egos, and I go farther in depth on this in a video I made in the past, which will be linked in the description of this video. But Nagi Seishiro is someone I guess you could call an anomaly. Even though at the beginning of Blue Lock he didn't have any ego whatsoever and didn't care about soccer even a bit, he was still dominating the field and had his team go undefeated until his fated match with Isagi Yoichi and Team Z. But even in this match, he displayed his amazing talent, being able to easily score the first goal on Team Z with his amazing trapping abilities alongside of his teammate Ryo. After just this one goal, he had multiple people on Team Z questioning if they can even beat somebody like this, but the team did eventually get a grip and start playing once again. And in response to this, Nagi simply makes another insane shot, which is even more insane than the one he did previously. He simply traps a pass from Ryo, kicks it back up into the air, and does a bicycle kick right into the goal. And these are just displays of Nagi's power very early on into his soccer career. And in this moment, he's not even close to fired up and is still very bored of the match. Nagi is fired up in this match when Team Z is able to tie the game 3-3, and Nagi sees in Ryo's face that there's a possibility that they could lose this game. This leads Nagi to take things into his own hands, and with this he begins going through the defense of Team Z, and he eventually passes it to Zantetsu, who passes it back to him in the penalty area. This is when Nagi begins to get fired up, and the idea occurs to him that he wants to test himself. He then traps the ball on the side of the goal where it seems like he doesn't even have a shot course, but he actually is able to turn his body mid-air and shoot the ball, scoring a goal that marks his awakening in this match. Now, to most people, if you asked them what was Nagi's first moment of being fired up, they would probably say this moment. But in the Blue Lock spin-off manga, episode Nagi, which is canon and written and drawn by the same people that draw and write Blue Lock, we get a glimpse of Nagi being fired up in his match against Baro. And one thing you can immediately notice about these two people is that their ideals are almost completely opposite. Nagi is perfectly fine working with Ryo and doing whatever he says, because as we learn, he himself has almost no creativity. But Baro is someone who will never submit to anyone and would rather literally die or give up his career than to not be the king of his own field. And in this match, Baro points this out by telling Nagi after he scores a goal from a pass from Ryo that a goal like that is very boring and he shouldn't really be satisfied after scoring like that. But Nagi simply responds that it doesn't matter if it's boring or not, a goal is a goal. But Baro simply responds saying that he thinks like a commoner and that Nagi's only scoring goals because Ryo's over there controlling him like a slave. And as this conversation is going on, Baro's teammate's about to receive a pass, but Baro, being the player he is, slams into his shoulder and takes the pass from him. And while this is happening, Baro says the world's #1 striker always stands alone as the king, and that he would rather die than be someone's slave. And after this goal, Ryo starts talking to Nagi, telling him that the game is basically over and either way that they're gonna win. Ryo tries to communicate with Nagi, telling him what to do, but Nagi just stays quiet and takes the initiative after the game starts. And Ryo even notes while he's going through the defense that Nagi is not using the logical options and he's electing for more risky options than usual. But it's revealed that Nagi did all of this just to get to the King Baro. And at that moment, Ryo sees Nagi's vision and passes a high-speed ground pass towards him. Nagi's able to catch this pass with his back heel and asks Baro if he still thinks that he's boring. Baro fouls Nagi, trying to stop him from scoring a goal, but Nagi simply keeps on going and pushes Baro right back and shoots the ball, scoring his goal against Baro, ending the game. After this, Baro tells Nagi that he has one scary ego, and he says that next time they meet each other, he'll make Nagi his slave. And this leads into something very interesting, which is one of the more recent chapters of Blue Lock where they actually meet once again. After Baro and the Ubers win their match against the Manchine City team, Nagi goes up to Baro and says, "Hey King, what is it that pushes you ahead like that?" Baro simply responds, "Huh? To be the best in the world, obviously." And Nagi responds saying, "And if that comes true, what happens then?" To which Baro says, "I'll create my own era of soccer and take down anyone who comes for the throne." And Nagi responds with a boring question saying, "So you really do want to become the king of soccer, huh?" And Baro responds to him saying, "What kind of stupid, cowardly question was that?" And right now, he's not a pain at all. Baro continues on saying, "It's like you're not hungry enough. I can't feel your unusual pain in the ass fire. To me, it looks like you're just pretending to fight. And he ends off his conversation by saying, go die and come back, you coward. You're just using a fake, borrowed ego. And that won't cut it on a world stage. Now this slump from Nagi all stems from the fact that he got what he wanted in his match against the Germany team. As we know, ever since he experienced his first loss to Isagi during the match I just went over, he's wanted to beat Isagi, and that's been his main goal. He even says this to Chris Prince before the training starts. And after he says this to Chris Prince, Prince actually tells him that that's not enough to become the world's best. But Nagi simply responds saying that he doesn't want to be the world's best yet. He just wants to beat Isagi for now. But we get to see that after Nagi actually beat Isagi, a wave of relief flushes over him. And after this, Isagi goes up to him and asks him how did he reach this point. To which Nagi simply says, well, I've been playing soccer just to beat you. Then Ryo helped me at the end, and it felt good having that dream come true. And Isagi even questions this, saying, is that really true? Is that it? Showing that this ego and goal that Nagi had isn't something that's supposed to be held at someone at such a high level. But the reason that Nagi was able to get to this high level while using this goal as his ego is because of his protagonism. Before Nagi began playing with Ryo, he began coordinating with Agi, who had him making his own plays, trying to up his creativity since he has none. But Isagi notes that these plays that he was making weren't aligned with his goal of beating Isagi, so he wasn't actually at full strength. And what this basically means is that Nagi couldn't be at full strength in the Neo Egoist League until he met Isagi and played against him, because without Isagi on the field, he simply had no goal and no ego, which kind of puts into perspective how good Nagi is regardless, as he still was started as one of the starting 11 on the Manshine City team. But in light of all of this, there's one glaring issue with the goal that Nagi had, and this is simply the fact that he never truly reached this goal. And to clarify, what I mean is he never truly reached this goal with his own power. Genuinely, there was really no formula to this goal. It's not something like the Kaiser impact or the direct shot that Isagi has, which can be reproduced to make goals almost every time. Isagi even notices this and notes it by saying that he won't have any more miracles coming from the two of them. And of course, as we know after this match, Ego says that that goal gave him nothing but discomfort because that goal had zero reproducibility. He continues by saying that Nagi Seishiro's talent surpasses most of humanity, and you could even say that things were going too well for him. And he says that any achievement beyond their talent can lead to the danger of ruination. What I think Ego is saying here is that even though Nagi has made this luck goal, he believes, and he truly believes, that he has surpassed his rival and achieved his one and only goal. And this is why Ego continues to say that Nagi's deep ego is about to be tested. But because Nagi believes he has reached his goal, this leads to the ego slump that I was talking about in his match against the Ubers team. And that's why he's never truly gotten heated up once again, and why Bara calls him boring. So the real question is, how can Nagi escape this ego slump that he's currently in? Because as it stands now, he has really nothing pushing him to go beyond his limits. We get to see that after his match with Isagi, he's talking to Ryo where he says that he can't really imagine the world's best right now, and that honestly he still doesn't understand his own motivations. Ryo tries to solve this problem by giving him another goal which is smaller than being the world's best, and is based on Nagi's ideals of not wanting to work. And he gives Nagi the goal of winning 300 million yen, or rather getting a bid up to 300 million yen. And while this is another short-term goal, it should be enough to put him through the Neo Egoist League. And the simple and main reason that this ego isn't very good for Nagi is that it doesn't get Nagi fired up at all. We see that him wanting to actually beat Isagi gets his ego completely thriving, but this goal of a 300 million yen bid doesn't do anything for him. Another problem with this is that it's another given ego by Ryo. It's an ego that was given to Nagi, not one that he came up with himself or one that he wants for himself really. And this is most likely why Baro said that he's just riding another stolen ego. And this leads me to my conclusion that the only way that Nagi can truly evolve in Blue Lock currently would be by getting his own independence. He needs to be someone that can play on his own and involve his own creativity in order to evolve his talent as well. We see that after the match with the Ubers, Agi goes up to Ryo and tells him that they only have one match left and that he should let go of Nagi before they both become doomed. But Ryo simply responds being ignorant and telling him to be quiet. Agi then responds saying that they're codependent, but for both of them to grow and evolve, they need to get stronger and have the courage to let each other go. Keep in mind that Agi is someone who is a pathological soccer analyst, and he's called the Doctor. And he spent quite a bit of time with both Ryo and Nagi and has seen both of them play for quite a while, so he probably has a good gauge on both of their mindsets and how they could evolve themselves. And the conclusion he comes to is simply that they need to split apart for a while. This does make quite a bit of sense, seeing as Nagi isn't really getting better, with him being led around and fed goals by Ryo, as Ryo isn't someone like Seitoshi who can give Nagi challenging passes. All they do is really feed into each other, not really giving each other a chance to evolve themselves. So the one thing that Nagi truly needs to do before the end of the Neo Egoist League is to find his own ego and find his own evolution. All of the previous evolutions he has gained have came from a past from Ryo, and this codependency, and even codependency to Isagi as well, has led him to being nerfed in multiple ways, since as I mentioned before, his previous ego of wanting to beat Isagi is a very situational one that leads him to only being full power while facing Isagi. And of course, with him being on the same side as Ryo never really gives him a chance to evolve himself or to find his own creativity. But luckily for Nagi, he has one more chance to redeem himself before the U20 games. The Manshine City team does have one more game to play, and in this match, like Baro says, I believe that Nagi needs to be destroyed and reborn once again, giving him an evolution in the ability of self-sustainability, being able to finally thrive on a battlefield without Ryo's assistance. But without this, it seems like Nagi's soccer career will begin to come to an end, as he won't continue evolving like the other Blue Lockers. But that's all I have for today. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel, and check out some more of my videos. But yeah, goodbye.